This video is all about how to get into Launchpad to do your chapter quizzes, your primary source activities, and your map quizzes. So I'm here on the Start Here page. This is where you're going to land the first few weeks. And what you're going to do is come right here to Student Registration Start Here. Click on that. And sometimes it's going to open a new window. Sometimes it may say like Launch, and you just click on Launch. Or it may also take you to a different page. So I'm going to back up and show you what that other page may look like if you've never connected, if you've never had a Launchpad course before. So I'm going to do it again. And this is, for those of you that have not ever set up a Launchpad course before, this is what it will look like. So it just says, prior to accessing this system, prior to accessing those assignments, is it okay if we share your first name, your last name, your email address, and if you happen to have a profile image, is it okay if we share that with your instructor? You always want to put I agree. It's not going to anyone else. Everything you do in Launchpad, it talks to Blackboard and comes back into Blackboard. So you do want to hit I agree, and then you want to hit launch. Sometimes when you hit launch, a red bar will come up across the top here, and you just say launch content if it happens to you. Then for most of you, if this is your first time using Launchpad, using a Macmillan product, it's going to take you to a page that looks like this, and it's going to say create account. So it's going to ask you for your first name and your last name and then your email right here. I know it doesn't show the first name, last name, but that will pop up on that window, and you're going to want to make sure it's your it's your parisjc.dragons.edu address. If you use an outside address, guys, I won't get your grades. I won't be able to import your grades. That's why it's so important that you use your official PJC email address. So it should already populate that in for you. You just want to retype that in, and then you are going to create a password. You shouldn't probably have to remember this password after the first time, but you do want to write it down, because after you set everything up, all you do is log into Blackboard, and then when you click on anything in Launchpad, it takes you straight there. So it's a single sign-on, but just in case something happens, go ahead and write down that password that you've created and then confirm it. And just keep in mind, they have to be at least 8 characters long, 1 capital letter, 1 lowercase, a special character, and 1 number. And then you're going to just click that you have read the privacy and notice terms, or notice and terms of use. You feel free to read those. Then click next. If you are a returning student and you've had me say for History 1301 and you're coming back and you're taking my World History class this time, your email address, your account will already show up, and then it's going to ask you that password you created last semester or the semester before. Go ahead and enter that. If you forget it, it will take you through the steps. Just click here on Forgot Password, and it will take you through the steps of creating a new password. Then for those of you, click Submit. Then everyone is going to get to this page, and it will say, please select your access option to proceed. If you've already gone to the bookstore and you picked up the book, it comes with the access code. And you're going to take that access code, scratch it off. It's just like a scratch off lottery ticket. Scratch that off so you can see the code and enter it when you click on this. If you have not been to the bookstore, but you are going to go, you just don't have it yet, but you want to go ahead and get started on your assignments, you can click on Start Trial Access. Or if you don't want a hard copy of the book, you just want to use the ebook, that's cool with me. It saves you, I think, like $10 or $15 if you do that. Just buy it straight from here. You can purchase the access. So those of you that are entering that access code, if you click on that, it will say enter your access code. You enter it right here. Click Submit. Then it will say, is academic term, it should say Fall 2021. It should have History 1301, Bueno, whatever. The course start date is August 30th. And then you're going to click Join Course. If that is not the right course, it should be. But if for some reason it's not, you're going to click there, and then it will take you through the steps of finding my class. Once you have successfully joined, it will say Continue. You click on that, and then it will take you to the next page. It will take you straight to Launchpad. Those of you that are purchasing your access, you're going to click over here, click Purchase. You have only 2 options in our class. We do not have the 2-year. We've got the 6-month and the 12-month, the 1-year access. You choose one of those. Ours are much cheaper than this. I think even my World History book is still cheaper than these options. So click if you want a 6-month or a 12-year. Those of you that are buying this online and you are going to have to take History 1301 and you know you have to take 1302, which is most everybody, Go ahead and get the 12-year access. That way you don't have to purchase a access code in the spring. It's already there for you. You can either pay with a credit card or you can pay with PayPal. You're going to enter that information, click on continue. This shows you how to do it with PayPal, right? Confirm your payment, continue. Then it will have the same thing. Join course, is this the right one? Click on join, then click continue. Trial access, I recommend everyone doing this, especially if you do not have your book already. Go ahead and get on the trial access. You get a free trial for 14 days. This way we don't have any issues with you being not able to complete your coursework the first 2 weeks, because you do have things due week 2 and week 3. So you can get away with not purchasing it the first week, but by the second week of this course, that, second week of September after Labor Day, starting September 7th, 8th, and 9th, you've got something due on the 9th. You need to go ahead and have already gotten the trial access if you have not purchased the book at that point. All it's going to do is ask you, is this the correct class? You click join course, then you click continue, and now you are in. I don't know if it's going to ask you this, but if it does, just go ahead and click I've read and then accept. And then I'll show you what it looks like once you get into our course. So sometimes it will take you straight into the homepage, into Launchpad. Sometimes it will go to like a course homepage and it will say, enter course in green. You just want to go ahead and enter the course at that point. And then here are all the assignments. So you'll notice there's nothing due. You have no assignments due in the next 7 days. Woohoo! You don't have anything due until September the 9th. And that doesn't matter if you're in, like, this is my 300 section, my 301 section, my 250 section. You do have something due September the 2nd, that flex course. World history, I don't think you have anything due in yours until September the 9th also, but you can always look over here and see. Mine's a little bit different. I'm going to switch into the student view so that I can see it like you guys do. Oh, and of course, just go back. Sometimes it does this every once in a while. I just hit the back button and I said go ahead, continue, submit all that stuff over again, and it got me into here. So this is what yours, it'll look similar to this, right? So in this class, they've got something due September the 9th, and it's showing me, okay, I've got 0 of 1 completed. I've got 0% done. Of this assignment, there's 5 of these. It's the 5 sources that they have to look over and then do some quizzes over. 0% of that one done. So what you can do is click over here on this arrow, and it drops down and it shows me, okay, I've got a summative quiz, but here's the book. I can go through and read the entire book this way. There's other quizzes that are embedded in here. Let me see if I can find one like this. Look, yeah, it's a guided analysis, but there's nothing attached to it. There's no grade attached to it. So it's not due. I don't have to do that. You can skip through that as you're going through the chapter. This learning curve also, you are more than welcome to do this if you want. But you'll notice I didn't assign it. There were no points assigned to it. So don't feel like you have to do these things that are there. The only thing you need to worry about is if there's a date and points attached to it. Then that means Bueno has assigned it. I need to get it done. Right? But you can go through, read the book. Then you can also have like this in a window and this one. You can go back and forth and get the answers by reading through the book. So this is where you're going to find your chapter quizzes, like I said. This is an example of some primary source work that this class has to do. They're going to go through and read this. Takes a second for it to load, but once it's loaded, they go through. This is an introduction to the assignments. Let me move this up so you can see. We're going to go to next. It's going to load this first one. And the cool thing is you can come through and you can like make notes if you want to. You can add notes to it. You can highlight. This is important. You can highlight this like a different color. Note text, study for quiz, and we can do it blue, which is really cool. And then when we go to our notebook up here, like everything that I've highlighted, like study for quiz, that's all in my notebook, which is kind of cool. So as you're going through and you're answering like your quiz questions, you might want to go back in the chapter and be like, oh my gosh, I know that she asked me this on the quiz. This is something I'm going to need to study for the exam. But this is just showing you this map. You can also click on these, or this primary source. You can click on these and enlarge them as you're going through, which is super awesome. Then you go through, you read the next one. You can also get out of this if you want to. Here's another one. You can go back home and you can see, okay, what am I supposed to do for 100 points with those 2 sources? So it's a quiz, right? So it tells you what exactly you're supposed to do. Europeans' maps of the world became increasingly detailed as their knowledge and understanding the region beyond Europe and Asia grew over time. And it wants you to go back and look at this depiction of map 1.1. So you can click done, or you can go back out of here. You can also hit save if you're not quite done, and you can go back and look at map 1.1. I think the answer is yes. So I'm going to save it. And then I can resume the quiz anytime that I want to. So I can, as long as I finish it before September the 9th, okay? So even with your summative quizzes, it's the same way. You can go in, answer 3 or 4 of them, like, oh my gosh, I've had enough history. I'm gonna go and look at something else for a while and come back to it. You can open these as soon as you want to. Just make sure you hit save and submit by 11:59 on the due date. Okay, and then these should come and they will automatically be graded in the grade book over here. Now, I will tell you, it does take time for Macmillan, for Launchpad, to talk to Blackboard. So once a week, I go in and do a grade update. So if you do this on a Tuesday and you're like, my grade has not come over yet, don't worry, don't panic. It should update by Friday morning or Friday afternoon. If it hasn't updated by the end of the week, shoot me an email and let me know, because that means we have a bigger problem and for some reason your grades are not coming over into Blackboard and I need to fix that on my end. But give it, give it till the end of the week. So you can see I've got 40% of this assignment completed. That means I've looked at 2 of the primary sources, and now I still have to do the quiz though. All right. But that's where you're going to find those summative quizzes, primary sources, and the map quizzes will be in here. I think there's a map quiz in chapter 4 for these guys. So I'm going to click here, and there is. So these map quizzes are pretty short, simple. Do take your time on them because you can only attempt them once, and it is critical thinking skills used in these. If you've taken my courses in the past, they were like matching questions, not so much this time. And see how small these maps are? You should be able to click on them. They're not getting bigger. You can go back in the book and look at this though. It tells you which map it is. This is map 4.1. You can go back in the book, chapter 4, look at the very first map in that chapter, and it gives you like a blown up version of it. You should also be able to, you can open it, you can go back and you can open it in the ebook and look at it really big if you want to. But the question is, frontier settlements in Pennsylvania were intermingled with what? More than likely, it's going to be Indian settlements intermingled. Kind of see how they're all sprinkled out together. And the same again, you can save your answers until you get down to the very last one, and then once you answer that question, make sure you hit submit over here. I did want to show you this really cool feature in here, the calendar feature. If you go over here, it will show you what's due in Launchpad. So, week 2, pretty heavy for this class, but then look, they only have like one thing due in Launchpad week 3, and then week 4 is pretty easy. So remember, there's 3 assignments due here, but then your group discussions and your exams, you have to go back to Blackboard and complete those in Blackboard. All right, so you got to get comfortable going back and forth between the 2. And as we move forward, as we get going into the weeks, it'll just become second nature. It's going to be so easy for you guys to pick up on this. All right, so stay tuned. I'm going to post another video about group discussions and another video about how to take your exams. So make sure you watch those 2 this first week so that we don't have any issues when those come up.